My wife cheated with my brother and my parents defended him because family sticks together. Then they were shocked when I cut everyone off. Now they cry about missing their grandkids and I feel nothing. My brother was still buttoning his pants when I walked into my bedroom and caught them. I stood there for maybe 3 seconds. My wife scrambled for the sheets. My brother, my younger brother who I helped pay for community college, just stared at me with his mouth open. There was a bottle of my whiskey on the nightstand, the good stuff I'd been saving. I didn't yell, I just said get out of my house and walked to my kids' rooms to pack their stuff. That was 4 months ago. I moved into my buddy's rental property that same night with my 3-year-old and my 6-year-old, filed for divorce the next morning. My lawyer said I had everything I needed since I took pictures before they could get dressed and leave. But here's the thing that made it so much worse. My parents found out 2 days later and my dad actually called me to say I was overreacting, said people make mistakes. Said my brother was going through a tough time because he'd lost his job. Like that justifies screwing your brother's wife in his bed while his kids are at preschool. My mom called next. She cried and said I was tearing the family apart, not my wife, not my brother, me, for refusing to come to Sunday dinner and work through this. I told her I was done with all of them. She said I was being cruel and unforgiving, said family sticks together no matter what. I asked her if she'd feel the same if dad cheated on her with her sister. She hung up. My soon-to-be ex tried apologizing through text. Long messages about how it just happened, how she never meant to hurt me, how my brother pursued her. I blocked her number. Her lawyer can talk to my lawyer. My brother showed up at my work 3 weeks ago. Security walked him out after he caused a scene in the lobby, yelling about how I'd poisoned the whole family against him. I hadn't spoken to anyone except my lawyer. Apparently my parents' friends found out somehow and it got around their church. My mom blames me for her embarrassment. The divorce is almost final. I'm getting primary custody because she can't afford a good lawyer and her own affair texts were pretty damning. My brother moved back in with our parents. Last week my mom called from a different number. I almost didn't answer. She was crying, saying she misses her grandkids. Said it's been months since she's seen them, asked when she could visit. I said never. She lost it, screamed that I can't keep her grandchildren from her, that she didn't do anything wrong. I reminded her that she took his side. That she called me cruel for leaving my cheating wife, that she's been to Sunday dinners with both of them there, laughing and eating like nothing happened. She went quiet, then said he's still your brother. I hung up. My dad left a voicemail yesterday. His voice was shaking. He said my mom cries every night about the kids. Said maybe we can all sit down and talk. Said I'm being stubborn and hurting everyone, especially my kids, by keeping them from their family. I deleted it. My kids ask about grandma sometimes. I tell them grandma is busy. My daughter asked if grandma doesn't love her anymore. That one hurt. But I'm not exposing my kids to people who think cheating on your spouse with your own brother is something you just forgive and move on from. My buddy says I'm doing the right thing. My sister, who also cut them off after they defended him, says our parents made their choice. But I see my daughter's face when she asks about grandma. Am I the butthole here? My mom showed up at my daughter's school yesterday. The principal called me at work, said a woman claiming to be the grandmother was in the office demanding to see my kids. I was there in 10 minutes. My mom was sitting in the waiting area with this look on her face like she'd done nothing wrong. The principal knew the situation. I'd already put both my parents on the no-contact list when I enrolled the kids. My mom tried to argue that she had rights, that I couldn't just keep her away. The principal told her she needed to leave or they'd call the police. My mom looked at me like I was the one being unreasonable. She left, but she waited in the parking lot. I saw her car when I was buckling the kids into mine. She got out and started walking toward us. My son saw her first and said, "Grandma," all excited. That made it worse somehow. I told the kids to stay in the car and locked the doors. My mom stopped a few feet away. She looked older than I remembered, tired. She said she just wanted to talk, just 5 minutes. I told her no. She started crying right there in the parking lot, said she made a mistake, said she didn't realize how serious I was, said my brother moved out of their house last week after my dad finally told him he needed to figure his life out, like that changed anything. I asked her if she thought that fixed it, if my brother getting kicked out months too late meant I should just forget everything. She said family forgives. I asked her if she'd forgiven me yet for tearing everyone apart. She didn't answer. My daughter knocked on the window asking why grandma was sad. My mom heard it. She looked past me at the car and completely broke down, started begging, said she hasn't held them in 4 months. Said she dreams about them, said my dad is depressed and barely eats anymore because of the guilt. I told her that wasn't my problem, that they made their choice when they sat across the table from my cheating wife and my brother at Sunday dinner while I was figuring out how to explain to my kids why we weren't living at home anymore. She said she was wrong, that she should have supported me, that she was scared of losing everyone so she tried to keep the peace and it backfired. I told her she did lose everyone, me and the kids. My sister won't talk to them either. She grabbed my arm, not hard but desperate, said she'd do anything, go to therapy, apologize publicly, cut off my brother completely, anything to see her grandkids again. I pulled away and told her it's too late for that, that I don't trust her anymore. that even if I believed she was sorry, which I don't, I won't let my kids around people who think what happened to me was something everyone should just get over. She asked what my brother was supposed to do, just lose his whole family. I said yes, that's exactly what he deserves. She said that's cruel. I said sleeping with your brother's wife is cruel, defending it is worse. My mom said I'm punishing her for trying to hold the family together. I told her there is no family anymore. She killed it when she picked him over me. I got in my car, she stood there in the parking lot watching us drive away. My daughter asked why I didn't let grandma say hi. I told her grandma had to go home. Then my daughter said something that's been stuck in my head since. She said, I think grandma was crying because she misses us, but you're still mad at her. Kids see everything. My ex's lawyer contacted mine yesterday too. She wants to revisit custody. Apparently my parents told her about me keeping the kids isolated from family and she thinks that's ammunition. My lawyer said it won't work since they sided with her affair partner, but now I have to deal with that. My brother tried adding me on Facebook. I blocked him immediately. Then he made another account and sent a message saying our parents are falling apart and it's my fault for being stubborn, said I'm using the kids as weapons. I reported the account and blocked that one too. My sister called last night. She's still not talking to our parents either, but she said mom has been texting her constantly, begging her to convince me to let them see the kids. My sister told her no, said she made her bed, but my sister also said she's never seen mom like this and it's kind of scary how desperate she's getting. I don't care, that sounds cold, but I don't. They had 4 months to realize what they lost. My mom showing up at the school isn't love, it's control. She wants things back the way they were because she's uncomfortable now. Her friends know, her church knows, she's embarrassed. That's not the same as actually understanding what she did wrong. My dad hasn't tried contacting me directly since the voicemail. My sister said he just sits in his chair most evenings not talking. My mom apparently told her that he said he should have backed me up from the start. Again, too late, way too late. The divorce is final in 3 weeks. My ex will have supervised visitation every other weekend. My lawyer made sure my parents can't be present during her time. She tried to fight that, but the affair texts killed any credibility she had. My son asked me yesterday if grandma and grandpa don't love us anymore. I didn't know what to say. I told him they love him, but sometimes grown-ups make mistakes and need space. He's 6. He just said okay and went back to his trucks, but I know he's thinking about it. That's what my parents don't get. The kids are already dealing with their mom not being around most of the time. Their uncle who used to play with them is gone. Now they're grandparents too. My parents act like I'm doing this to punish them, but I'm doing it to protect my kids from learning that betrayal gets forgiven if you cry enough. My buddy said my mom will probably try again. He said desperate people escalate. I'm ready to document everything if she shows up at the school again. The principal already has it all written down. Maybe I'm being too harsh, I don't know anymore. My mom tried to take my kids from daycare 2 days ago. The director called me in the middle of a meeting, said my mom showed up with a lawyer and some paperwork claiming grandparent rights. I left work immediately. When I got there, my mom was in the office arguing with the director while some guy in a suit kept saying they had legal standing. The director wouldn't release my kids, thank God. She told them the custody arrangement was clear and only I could pick them up. My mom started yelling that I was brainwashing the children against her. The lawyer threatened legal action. The director called the police. I walked in right as the cops showed up. My mom saw me and her whole face changed. Started crying and saying she just wanted to hug her grandkids, that she wasn't trying to take them, just see them. The lawyer immediately backed off when the police asked to see the paperwork. Turns out it was just a consultation document, not an actual court order. The cops told them both to leave. My mom tried one more time to get past me to the classroom where my kids were. One of the officers had to physically guide her toward the door. She was screaming about how I turned into someone she didn't recognize, how her son would never be this heartless. I told her she didn't know me at all anymore. She left with the lawyer. The police took a report. The director said I should probably get actual legal protection now because this was escalating past uncomfortable into dangerous. I called my lawyer from the parking lot. That night my sister called. She was pissed. Apparently my mom had been planning this for weeks. She'd gone to 3 different lawyers before finding one willing to file for grandparent visitation rights. Most of them told her she had no case since she chose to defend my ex and my brother. But this one guy convinced her she could argue I was keeping the kids from family out of spite. My sister said my dad didn't even know about the lawyer until the day before. He told my mom it was a bad idea. They had a huge fight about it. My mom said she was desperate and had no choice. My dad said she made her choice months ago and needs to accept it. The divorce finalized 3 days after the daycare incident. I have full custody. My ex gets supervised visits twice a month. The judge added a clause specifically preventing my parents from being present during any of her parenting time after my lawyer brought up the affair and their defense of my brother. My ex cried in court, said it wasn't fair that her mistakes cost her everything including her kids' grandparents. The judge told her actions have consequences. My brother apparently heard about the daycare thing. He sent me an email, long and rambling, said my mom is having a breakdown because of me, that she's on medication now for anxiety and depression. That my dad barely speaks anymore, that their marriage is falling apart. He said I won. Then he said I should be happy I destroyed them all, and maybe now I can move on. I forwarded it to my lawyer without responding. She said it could be useful if we need a restraining order later. I'm starting to think we might. My buddy thinks my mom is going to try something else. He says the lawyer thing wasn't rock bottom for her, it was a test run, that she's going to keep pushing until something breaks. I want to believe he's wrong, but I'm not sure anymore. My daughter had a nightmare last night. She was crying about grandma being angry at her. I held her and told her grandma wasn't angry at her. She asked why grandma tried to take her from school. Kids at daycare had apparently been talking about it. Great. I told her sometimes adults make mistakes and get confused. She asked if grandma was confused when she was mad at daddy. I didn't know how to answer that. I just said yes and she fell back asleep. My son hasn't mentioned any of it, but he's been quieter. His teacher said he's been sitting alone at recess more, not playing with the other kids as much. When I asked him about it, he just shrugged and said he was tired. They're dealing with the fallout of adult decisions and they're 6 and 3 years old. That's what makes me angriest. Not what my mom did at the daycare, not the lawyer. The fact that my kids are suffering because the adults in their life couldn't act right. My ex tried calling me yesterday. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail saying we need to talk about the kids and their emotional state. Said maybe if I let my parents back in it would help stabilize things for them. I deleted it halfway through. She's still trying to use the kids to manipulate me into fixing her relationship with my parents. Like I'm responsible for the fact that she destroyed multiple families by sleeping with my brother. My lawyer filed for the protective order today, not a restraining order yet, just something that makes it clear my mom can't show up at the school or daycare. She said given the pattern of behavior and the lawyer's stunt, a judge will probably grant it. My sister asked me last night if I ever think about forgiving them, not forgetting, just forgiving. She said she's not pushing me to do it, but she wanted to know if I'd considered it. I told her no, I haven't. Forgiveness requires the other person to actually understand what they did wrong. My parents still think they were trying to keep the family together. They still think I'm being stubborn. My mom showing up with a lawyer proved that. She doesn't want to make amends. She wants to force me back into line. My sister said that's fair. Then she said mom keeps asking about her too, wanting to rebuild things. My sister told her the same thing I did, that she picked a side and needs to live with it. Our family is completely fractured now. My parents, my ex, my brother, all gone, and they keep acting like I'm the one who broke everything, like I'm the villain in this story because I won't let them rug sweep an affair. My dad sent a letter to my work address. I don't know how he got it. It was handwritten, said he's sorry. That he should have stood up for me from the beginning, that watching my mom spiral has made him realize how badly they handled everything. But then the last paragraph asked if there was any path forward, any way to fix this. I haven't responded. I don't know if I will. Is keeping them cut off still the right choice, even if it's hurting my kids to not have grandparents? My ex showed up at my house last week with my brother. I was putting the kids to bed when the doorbell rang, looked through the peephole and saw both of them standing on my porch. My ex was holding some kind of folder. My brother had his hands in his pockets looking at the ground. I didn't open the door, told them through it to leave or I'd call the cops. My ex started talking fast, saying she needed to tell me something important. That it was about the kids. My brother just stood there. I opened the door but stayed in the doorway, asked what was so important it couldn't go through lawyers. My ex said the folder had letters from my parents, apology letters. She said my mom had been calling her begging her to deliver them because I wouldn't answer anyone's calls or messages. I told her to leave them on the porch and go. She didn't move, said my mom was in the hospital, that she'd had some kind of breakdown 2 days ago and my dad found her in the garage with the car running. My brother finally looked up, said dad got there in time, that she's okay physically but they put her on a psych hold. He said it was my fault for cutting her off so completely, that she couldn't handle losing the grandkids. I asked him if he thought about consequences when he was screwing my wife in my bed. He didn't answer. My ex started crying, said this had all gone too far, that people were getting hurt who didn't deserve it. I told her she didn't get to decide who deserved what anymore. She made her choices, they all did. My ex said my mom almost died and all I cared about was being right. I said my mom made a choice to defend them and now she's dealing with it. That's not on me. My brother said I was a cold bastard, that our mom tried to kill herself and I was acting like it was just another inconvenience. I told him he stopped being my brother the second he touched my wife, that what happens to him or anyone who defended him isn't my problem anymore. My ex threw the folder at me, letters went everywhere. She screamed that I was destroying everyone around me, that my kids were going to grow up knowing their dad chose pride over family. My brother pulled her back toward the car before she could say anything else. I picked up the letters after they left, didn't read them, threw them all in the trash. My sister called an hour later. She'd heard about my mom, said it was real, not some manipulation tactic, that my dad found her just in time and she's being evaluated now. My sister was crying, said she didn't know what to do, that she's still angry at them but she can't just ignore this. I told her to do whatever she needs to do. She asked what I was going to do. I said nothing. She got quiet, then she said she didn't know if she could keep doing this anymore. The cutting off, the silence, she said maybe we punished them enough. I asked her if she remembered sitting in her apartment crying after our parents told her she was overreacting too, when she first stopped talking to them. She said yes. I asked if anything had actually changed or if we just felt guilty now because mom did something drastic. She didn't answer right away, then she said she had to go. My buddy came over the next day. He'd heard through someone that my ex and brother showed up, asked if I was okay. I told him about the hospital, the letters, all of it. He said he couldn't tell me what to do but that this was getting really heavy. I know it's heavy. I know my mom is in a hospital because she couldn't deal with losing access to my kids, but she made that choice when she sat at Sunday dinner with the two people who blew up my life. She chose them. She doesn't get to make me responsible for her mental health now. My daughter asked yesterday if grandma was sick. Someone at school had heard something. Small town, everyone knows everyone. I told her grandma wasn't feeling well but she'd be okay. My daughter asked if we could visit her. I said no. She looked confused, said if grandma is sick we should check on her. That's what you do when people are sick. I didn't know how to explain that sometimes people's sickness is their own doing without making my 6-year-old carry adult problems. I just said grandma needs to rest and we can't visit right now. She accepted it but I could tell she didn't understand. The protective order got approved. My mom can't come within 500 feet of my house, the kids' school, or their daycare. My lawyer said given what happened it was an easy approval. She asked if I wanted to add the hospital to the order in case my mom tries to reach out after she's released. I said yes. My dad hasn't tried contacting me. My sister said he's basically shut down, spending all his time at the hospital with my mom, not talking to anyone. She said he looks 10 years older than he did 2 months ago. Part of me feels something about that, not guilt exactly, maybe just tired. Tired of all of it, but I'm not backing down. I can't. Because the second I do, the second I let them back in, it tells my kids that what happened was forgivable. That family loyalty matters more than respect and boundaries. My ex's supervised visits start next week. The supervisor already knows about my parents and the hospital situation. She's been briefed to call me immediately if anyone tries to make contact during the visits. I haven't told my kids about any of this, about grandma being in the hospital, about my brother and their mom showing up, about the letters or the breakdown or any of it. They just know grandma and grandpa aren't around right now and that's how it's going to stay. My lawyer asked if I was prepared for my mom to try again when she gets out. I said I don't know. She said I should think about it because desperate people don't stop after one attempt. They escalate until something breaks or someone intervenes. I think something already broke. I just don't know if it can be fixed or if I even want to try. My mom got released from the hospital 3 weeks ago and tried to sue me for grandparent rights. The paperwork arrived at my house on a Tuesday. Full custody petition claiming I was an unfit parent who was using the children as weapons against family. Her lawyer cited the hospital stay as evidence of the emotional distress I'd caused, said my refusal to allow contact was damaging to the children's well-being. My lawyer laughed when she read it, said it was the weakest case she'd seen in years. We went to court last week. My mom showed up looking frail, thinner than I remembered. My dad sat behind her in the gallery. He looked worse. My brother wasn't there, neither was my ex, though her statement was submitted as evidence supporting my mom's claim that I was isolating the kids. The hearing lasted 90 minutes. My mom's lawyer tried to paint me as vindictive and cruel, said I'd abandoned my mother when she needed me most, that I'd cut off an entire family over a mistake that had nothing to do with the children. My lawyer presented the timeline, the affair, my parents defending it, the Sunday dinners with my ex and brother while I was filing for divorce, the school incident. The daycare incident with the fake paperwork, the letters I'd refused, all of it documented. Then she brought up the garage, asked my mom directly if she'd used her mental health crisis as a manipulation tactic to force contact with my children. My mom started crying, said no, said she genuinely couldn't handle losing them. My lawyer asked why she thought she lost them in the first place. My mom said because I was stubborn and unforgiving. My lawyer read back the texts my dad sent my sister months ago, the ones where he admitted they should have supported me from the start. The judge denied the petition in less than 5 minutes after closing arguments. Said grandparent rights don't supersede a parent's decision to protect their children from people who enabled infidelity and showed poor judgment. Said my mom's mental health crisis, while unfortunate, was not my responsibility to fix by exposing my children to an unstable situation. My mom collapsed in her chair. My dad just sat there staring at nothing. I walked out without looking back. My sister called that night. She'd gone to the hearing even though I didn't know she would be there. She sat in the back. She said watching mom fall apart in court broke something in her, but she also said she understood why I did it, that some things can't be fixed. She's been talking to our parents again, not regularly, but enough to make sure they're surviving. She said she's not asking me to do the same, that she gets why I can't, but she needed me to know she loves them even though they're broken and wrong. I told her that was fine, that she could have whatever relationship she wanted with them. She asked if that changed things between us. I said no, she's my sister, she didn't betray me. My ex signed away more custody rights 2 weeks ago. She kept showing up late to supervised visits, sometimes not showing up at all. The supervisor reported that she seemed checked out. Not engaged with the kids, just going through motions. Her lawyer called mine and asked about reducing her schedule, said she was struggling financially and emotionally and the visits were making it worse. My lawyer told her she could either stick to the schedule or we'd file to have them reduced to once a month. She chose once a month. My kids barely notice anymore. My daughter stopped asking about grandma after the school year ended. My son made a friend at his new daycare and talks about him constantly instead of sitting alone at recess. They're okay, better than okay sometimes. We have routines now. Movie nights on Fridays, park on Saturdays, they laugh more, fight less. My daughter told me last week she likes our house better than the old one because it's quieter. I haven't seen my brother since he showed up with my ex. My sister said he moved 2 hours away after my dad finally told him he couldn't stay at their house anymore, that he found work doing something construction related, that he's alone. Good. My parents' marriage is apparently hanging by a thread. My sister said my dad sleeps in the guest room now, that they barely speak, that my mom spends most of her time in bed or at therapy, that my dad goes to work and comes home and sits in silence. I don't feel bad about it. I thought maybe I would, thought maybe after court I'd feel some kind of guilt or regret, but I don't. They chose this. Every single step of the way they chose my brother and my ex over me, over basic decency, over their grandchildren. The protective order is permanent now. Judge extended it indefinitely after the custody case. My mom can't come near us, can't contact us, can't show up anywhere we are. My lawyer said it's over, that unless something drastic changes there's nothing left for them to try. I asked what drastic meant. She said another mental health crisis or emergency, something that might obligate me legally or morally to intervene. I told her there's nothing that would make me intervene. She nodded and said she'd make sure that was documented. I saw my dad once after court, accidentally. I was getting gas and he pulled in 2 pumps over. We made eye contact. He looked like he wanted to say something. I got in my car and left. My buddy asked me last week if I ever think about what my life would look like if I'd forgiven them, if I'd let it go and kept the family together for the kids' sake. I told him I think about it sometimes, but then I remember my brother buttoning his pants in my bedroom, my mom saying family sticks together, my ex crying in court about consequences. And I know I made the right choice. My kids will grow up knowing their father has boundaries, that some things aren't forgivable. That family doesn't mean accepting betrayal just because someone shares your blood. They'll be better for it. I am.